Hey there, deep divers. We're back. And today we're taking a plunge into a really intriguing company, BLS International Services Limited.
That's right.
We've got our hands on, well, a stack of their latest documents, financials, investor presentations, even board meeting minutes, everything from their Q1 FY26 results right through to strategic stuff.
Yeah, quite the haul.
Our mission is simple, really. Cut through the jargon, pull out the most important insights, and give you that shortcut to understanding what makes BLS tick, what's driving their growth, and what these recent moves actually mean.
And what we'll really try to do is connect those dots for you. We'll look at how their financial performance links up with their strategic choices and how that all sits within the bigger industry picture.
Hmm.
It really reveals BLS International's, well, unique and pretty powerful position.
Okay, let's unpack this then. For anyone who might not be familiar, what exactly is BLS International Services Limited? What do they, do?
Right, so essentially BLS International is one of the top two global players when it comes to providing visa, passport, consular, and a whole range of citizen services. They're that bridge between governments and citizens globally.
Okay.
They mainly operate through two big segments. First, there's their core visa and consular services. That's the outsourced government-to-citizen, or G2C services worldwide. Their bread and butter, really.
Makes sense.
And second, you've got their digital services arm. Now, this focuses on front-end citizen services, but specifically within India. Things like business correspondence services, e-governance platforms, assisted e-services, that kind of thing.
Ah, so domestic focus for digital.
Primarily, yes.
Yeah.
And they have been around a while, started back in 2005, so that's 2 decades of experience. Their global footprint is genuinely impressive. They serve over 46 client governments across more than 70 countries.
Wow.
And the scale is huge. They've processed over 360 million applications.
Hmm.
Just to give you a sense of their recent financials, FY25 was very strong. Revenue was almost 2,200 crores. That's about 22 billion rupees.
Huge numbers.
Yeah, with really solid EBITDA of 629 crores and net profit, Patty, of 540 crores. The margins are quite striking.
That is a massive scale, and yeah, impressive numbers from last year. But okay, here's where it gets really interesting now. Let's talk about their latest performance. What did their Q1 FY26 consolidated results show? What were the key takeaways?
Right, so Q1 FY26 consolidated, it was robust, definitely shows acceleration. Revenue from operations hit 710.6 crores, about 7.1 billion rupees. That's a jump of 44.2% year over year.
44%?
Yeah, it's significant. And what's important here is it's not just organic growth. It's also clearly reflects the successful integration of those recent acquisitions. iData, Citizenship Invest, Fidelis Solutions, they're definitely contributing.
So the M&A is already paying off.
Seems like it. Their EBITDA, that key measure of operational profit, surged by over 53% year over year to 204.2 crores. And crucially, their EBITDA margin expanded. It went up by 171 basis points.
That's 1.71 percentage points, right?
Yeah, exactly, reaching 28.7%. And this margin improvement is a big deal. It's mostly down to better operational efficiencies and that strategic shift they've made from having partners run centers to managing more themselves.
The self-managed model.
Precisely. Their net profit, PEAT, also saw a great increase, up nearly 50% year over year to 181 crores. And the PAT margin expanded too, to 25.5%. Underpinning all this is a very healthy net cash balance, 1,126 crores, or about 11.26 billion rupees as of June 30th.
That's a strong cash position. Gives them options.
Absolutely. Significant flexibility for whatever comes next.
Those consolidated numbers are certainly impressive. But as you mentioned, BLS operates in two pretty distinct segments. How did each of those contribute to this strong Q1? Was the story the same for both?
Good question. You're right to break it down because they tell slightly different, though equally compelling stories, I'd say.
Yep.
So in Visa and Consular Services, the main segment, revenue was up a solid 11.2% year over year, hitting 460.7 crores. But here's the really interesting part. Their net revenue, basically what they keep after certain costs, jumped by a massive 59.5% to 360 crores.
59%? How did that happen if gross was only up 11?
Well, it wasn't just about processing more applications, although they did do that 1.14 million, up over 33%. The big driver was that strategic shift we talked about, moving from partner-run to self-managed centers in many places.
Ah, so they keep more of the revenue per application.
Exactly. Higher revenue retention. Plus, you had the consolidation of iData kicking in from July 2024. This change in business model is really boosting profitability.
Hmm.
You see it in the EBITDA for this segment, up over 53% to 186 crores.
Hmm.
And the EBITDA margin, a huge improvement, jumping to 40.4% from 29.3%.
Wow, that's a substantial margin for that business.
It really is. Shows strong cost control and the power of that self-managed model.
Okay, and what about the digital business side?
Right now, the digital business, this is where you see, well, explosive top-line growth. Revenue here soared by an incredible 218.2% year over year, reached 249.9 crores.
Over 200%.
Yeah. Now, this surge was mainly driven by consolidating a BLS Solutions, which they acquired a stake in back in November 2024, shows how that inorganic strategy is really fueling this digital arm.
Right, the loan distribution acquisition.
Exactly. Now, the absolute EBITDA number is smaller here, 18.3 crores, but that's still up 53.4%. What's exciting in this segment is just the sheer breadth of what they're doing. They handled a gross transaction value, GTV, of over 26,200 crores. That's huge.
26,000 crores.
Yeah, nearly 262 billion rupees. And that included 7,200 crores, or 72 billion rupees, just in loan distribution. So think about it. BLS is becoming this massive financial pipeline, facilitating loans, payments, basically a key part of the digital infrastructure for everyday finance in India.
That's a fascinating angle.
It is. And they're expanding rapidly. Onboarded over 10,000 retailers for their business facilitator model, struck new partnerships with big names like Bajaj Finserv for EMI cards, HDFC Bank for loans. They're leveraging synergies from Fidelis for lead generation, started a project in Chhattisgarh to digitize government offices, activated Aadhaar services in Rajasthan, and launched nationwide courier services with delivery. It's incredibly dynamic.
It definitely sounds like these strategic acquisitions are playing a really central role in their expansion, almost supercharging it. What's compelling is how they're not just relying on organic growth, but actively diversifying and using these inorganic routes. Can you tell us a bit more about this acquisition strategy? What's the bigger picture?
Absolutely. Their expansion strategy is clearly multifaceted. It's very deliberate.
Yeah.
Beyond just growing the core business, they've made this concerted push into digital services like we discussed. They're cleverly using their existing government-to-citizen expertise, but applying it domestically in India through BLSE services. That's smart diversification.
Leveraging existing strengths.
Precisely. And then on the inorganic side, they made several really key acquisitions in FY25 that highlight their global ambitions. First, there was the 100% stake in iData. That was 720 crores back in July 2024.
It's a visa processor for Germany, Italy.
And Czech Republic, yeah,
Yeah.
across 11 countries. That immediately bolstered their presence in key European and Central Asian markets. Then, in October 24, they bought 100% of Citizenship Invest for 260 crores.
That's the Residency and Citizenship Program 1.
Right, a leader in that growing golden visa-type market, operating across 15-plus countries. This taps into that whole global mobility trend for high-net-worth individuals.
Interesting niche.
Definitely. And then in November 24, their subsidiary BLS e-Services bought that 57% stake in Fidelis Solutions for about 123 crores. And as we saw, that's the crucial loan distribution player in India, boosting their digital finance side.
Right.
The board meeting docs also mention other smaller acquisitions, like SLW Media and BLS UK Hotels Limited, so it shows a pretty broad inorganic strategy. What's really impressive is they spent around 1,000 crores, roughly 10 billion rupees, on these acquisitions in FY25. Yet, as we saw, still maintained a very strong cash position.
That's key.
Yeah. These moves seem perfectly aligned with their goals: expand globally, strengthen revenues, and create sustainable value.
That is a lot of bold moves, and it seems to be working. But strong growth, especially this kind driven by acquisitions, needs solid foundations. How exactly is BLS International achieving this, impressive operational excellence? And how are they using tech to enhance services and stay competitive?
Yeah, the operational excellence part is really down to deliberate strategy. The most significant move, as we've touched on, was that shift from partner-run centers to a self-managed model.
That seems to come up again and again.
Because it's fundamental. It's not just a small change. It really transforms their earnings potential, gives them much greater control over costs, over the revenue streams, and leads directly to those improved margins we saw.
Like that jump in EBITDA margin over the years.
Exactly. From just 8.3% back in FY21 to 28.7% in FY25. That clearly shows their focus on capital efficiency is paying off. And then there's the technology piece. BLS isn't just, adding tech around the edges. They're deeply integrating it.
How so?
Well, they're using AI-driven processes for things like checking documents automatically. They use OCR technology, optical character recognition for electronic visa processing, turning paper forms into digital data instantly.
Okay.
They have advanced biometric and fingerprint scanners, and they're even using blockchain for added security. Think about it. A visa applicant could potentially get instant, accurate answers 24/7 from a chatbot.
Without needing a human agent.
Right, speeding things up, improving satisfaction. They're also deploying things like natural language processing, conversational AI, voice assistants. It's all about creating a more connected, smooth user experience.
So it's efficiency, but also customer experience.
Exactly. These aren't just cost-saving measures. They improve the whole process, optimize how resources are used, and crucially, give them a real competitive edge when they bid for new government contracts.
Yeah.
Often, that tech capability can be the deciding factor.
Okay, so we've dug into the internal workings, the financials, the strategy, but, no company exists in a bubble. How does BLS fit into the bigger picture? How are they leveraging the broader global trends in their industry? And what does the future look like in that context?
That's a great point because BLS International seems particularly well positioned right now within several really powerful global trends. First off, just the global travel and tourism industry itself is expected to grow at about an 8% compound annual rate between now and 2029.
Driven by more travel generally.
Rising incomes globally, more visa liberalization policies, making travel easier, government initiatives promoting tourism, all that creates a natural tailwind. But more specifically for BLS, the outsourced visa market, if you exclude the USA, is projected to grow even faster, maybe 14% CAGR.
By faster.
Because governments everywhere are looking to cut costs, streamline how they issue visas, and just improve the experience for applicants by outsourcing these functions. BLS already has a strong share here, about 17% by value, 10% by volume.
So they're well placed to capture that growth.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Then you have the global consular services market. This is broader. Think national ID cards, citizenship renunciations, notary services. That's expected to see really robust growth, maybe 32% CAGR. Again, areas BLS can expand into.
Yeah.
And finally, that residency and immigration services market, they entered with Citizenship Invest. That's booming due to increasing global mobility, especially among high net worth individuals looking for financial security, stability, maybe better tax environments. BLS is now perfectly positioned to ride all these waves.
So multiple growth drivers.
Exactly. Looking ahead, their future growth seems pretty clear. Keep bidding aggressively on new government tenders, expand the types of services they offer beyond just visas, maybe more specific citizen services, customized banking solutions even.
Geographic expansion too.
Yeah, absolutely. Pushing into untapped markets, continuing to nurture those strong government partnerships, and you have to assume they'll keep looking for more synergistic acquisitions.
Oh, and there's a huge opportunity just in existing contracts coming up for renewal across the industry, estimated at maybe $1 to $2 billion over the next couple of years.
That's a massive pipeline potential.
Huge potential, yes.
Okay, lastly, before we wrap this up, let's just quickly touch on the company's internal governance. What did those board meeting documents tell us about recent decisions or leadership changes?
Right. The board meeting from August 5th, 2025 did give us some useful insights there. Obviously, they formally approved the Q1 FY26 results we've been discussing. Standard procedure. Yeah.
They also announced the date for the 41st Annual General Meeting, the AGM. It's set for September 16th, 2025, and it'll be held virtually. More importantly, though, were some key personnel changes approved by the board, which still needs shareholder approval at that AGM.
Okay, like what?
Mr. Divakar Agarwal was appointed Chairman Executive Director. He's designated a Key Managerial Personnel, or KMP, for a 3-year term starting right from August 5th. He brings over 30 years of experience, and significantly, he's the founder of BLS International.
Ah, the founder taking the chair. Interesting. Notes mention relationship to Shikhar Agarwal, and he's related to Shikhar Agarwal, isn't he?
Yes, the documents note he is a relative. Also, Mr. Nikhil Gupta was reappointed as Managing Director, also a KMP, for another 3 years starting February 2026. He has extensive experience in audit, consulting, finance. Looks like continuity there.
Okay, so leadership solidified. Anything else?
They also reconstituted the Stakeholder Relationship Committee, important for dealing with investors, and they authorized the KMPs to determine and communicate material events, streamlining disclosures. Finally, there was an amendment approved to the internal code for trading by designated persons, suggesting a focus on robust governance practices.
Got it. So, bringing it all together, what does this mean for you listening? BLS International has clearly put up a really strong Q1 FY26 performance. It looks like a direct result of those strategic acquisitions really kicking in, major operational efficiencies boosting margins, and this deep, deliberate focus on using technology to get ahead. They seem to be in a very robust position, not just growing, but really transforming their business model within these expanding global markets.
And that really leads us to maybe a provocative thought for you to take away. Considering BLS International's really aggressive growth fueled by these acquisitions and their heavy investment in tech like AI, especially when you look at the big market opportunities in visa outsourcing and digital citizen services, how might their expanding global footprint not just compete, but actually reshape the traditional way governments deliver services to citizens? And maybe more intriguingly, what completely new market segments could they potentially disrupt next that we haven't even considered today?
That is definitely something to think about, a powerful thought to mull over. We really encourage you to continue your own deep dive, maybe look into the wider impact of AI on government services globally, or dig into the dynamics of that investment migration market. Lots to explore there. Until next time, keep diving deep.